the story that everybody's talking about, the brutal lynching of the sister Sonya Massey out there in, I want to say, Springfield, Illinois. And everybody has seen that surveillance video of the race soldiers brutally executing this innocent black woman in her home. That was a very vile and brutal execution.
Exactly what that was.
That we need to be making more noise about.
That's exactly the Tariq and she hit that. I'm watching Tariq and she talking about these Sonya Massey deletion. He said that was a modern lynching. He's exactly right. The thumbs up button.
Wow. Somebody, what was it? Nick Young, was it Swaggy P? I think it was him who said Team USA needs to be saying something. You overseas or wherever in the Olympics playing basketball, the team, somebody needs to say something. I kind of agree. We don't need to be out here acting like everything is hunky-dory when you have a violent execution like that happening in this day and age. That's a very vile thing to happen. And the way it was done, it was so callous and cold-blooded. We can't sit up here and act like this is some type of lone wolf behavior. Right. See, when something like this happens, people want to stop lollygagging and people want to get serious. See, this is why when it comes to dealing with white supremacy, we stay on that. We stay with that front and center because that is the biggest problem. And then some people complain to us about race baiting and, oh, you talk too much about white supremacy. We don't talk enough about it.
Exactly.
You understand? And it shouldn't just be me. Mm-hmm. We got a very big problem with systematic white supremacy and violent white supremacists.
Exactly.
That is a problem.
Major problem.
Ignoring that problem, letting these people take your eye off the ball, that's not going to make the problem go away. Yeah, just regulating that or relegating it to people like me and other influencers to have us just talk about it where everybody else is partying and BSing, that ain't going to cut it. See, there's a reason why you have the politicians on both sides running around. The Democrats and the Republicans, they do this, doing speeches talking about how America's not a racist country. Kamala did that, remember? Kamala was on that, America's not a racist country. And they had the Republicans just doing that last week, doing their speeches and bringing out Tim Scott and some of these buck dancing buffoons to talk about how America is not a racist country. So they want to do this propaganda thing to give the impression that we are white supremacy free, in which we are not. Just this week alone, we've seen videos of white supremacists parading around cities with white supremacist signs, calling black children the N-word. We got that. We got all of these instances happening that's showing vile white supremacy. There was just a video that came out today, a judge, I forgot what this was. It was a judge, and it was some kind of private high school party or something, and they were on somebody's lawn. It wasn't even the judge's lawn, and she was like yelling, "Y'all get out of here. Get out of here right now. And if they're trespassing, you can shoot them." So they're trying to get this judge removed for yelling at all these black kids who were at some kind of party. So we got vile white supremacy out here, and we got to keep our eyes on it. And again, the way they did that, sister, these two suspected white supremacist race soldiers went in the crib all casually, kind of shooting the breeze, and then they saw an opportunity to escalate the situation to take that sister out. And they deliberately tried to create an escalation scenario. This is what we talk about all the time, how these race soldiers will deliberately try to escalate a situation to justify harming a black person. But the way this guy did it was so damn scandalous. They can't say that it was any form of self-defense. And for what I understand, the guy lied, saying that the sister came at him with a boiling pot of water. That didn't happen. That was like a cold, callous, premeditated murder. And this is the thing. We pointed out that those race soldiers had these tattoos that were associated with white supremacist groups. Both of them did. The one filming, the main one filming, which was the second officer, he had a tattoo, and a lot of people didn't catch this until I pointed it out. That's the Viking calendar. It's that Norse god mythology that the Nazis and all these people, they've adopted. So when you see these Viking calendars or these little Viking tattoos referring to some type of Norse type of mythology, that's white supremacy. That's all you need to know. It's just some white supremacist gibberish. And the officer, Sean something, I forgot his last name, but the one who actually did the execution, he got these Totenkopf.
Out here in LA, they have groups. They have little racist groups amongst the LAPD. They call the Vikings. I think one of them called the Cowboys or something, or some of the Gladiators. And the Viking cops got bald heads, and it's usually Latinos and white cops that hate black people. And one of the initiations of it, you gotta kill at least one black person, whether it be a kid, a woman, black woman, or a black male, mainly a black male, and that'll give you, like, you know what I'm saying. Then you can be entry into the back. That's what I heard. The Vikings, and there was a woman. It was a sister who wrote a book about that. And they were trying to come after her. Like, they was trying to, like, I think she had to move out of California because they was trying to come after her because she exposed these racial racist gangs within the Los Angeles Police Department. You know, and I remember the Vikings being one of them. Anytime you see an LAPD officer that's Hispanic or white and they got the shaved head, they might be a Viking.
Skull tattoos all on his arm, which are associated with the neo-Nazis and white supremacist groups. So this thing, to be honest, it looked like some kind of white supremacist initiation thing where they're moving up in the ranks within these white supremacist groups. Because you got to understand what they do. These white supremacist groups, in order to kind of move into certain ranks and to gain the trust of certain members and to get in certain circles within these groups, you got to take out a black person.
I was just talking about that.
And especially if you're in law enforcement, and understand, law enforcement has a lot of these white supremacist groups. That's why when you see these guys, these white supremacist groups marching around in cities, they're with the police. That's why nothing never happens to them. They get out here and do all types of hate crimes and hate speech, which is what's interesting. When it's hate speech against black people, it's freedom of speech. Now, if a black person says, hey, this Asian man just bumped into me, oh, whoop, whoop, that's a hate crime. Stop Asian hate. You see? If a black person gets into an argument with an Asian person and you just say the word Asian, or you just argue with them, that's a damn hate crime. Ain't no freedom of speech. But these people sit up here and yell the N-word and attack black folks, and whoops, there's freedom of speech. You see? So it looks like the execution of that sister, that was some kind of white supremacist initiation.
That's what I think too.
Just like old girl down in Dallas, the white girl who got the white lady, what's her name, who went to jail in Dallas for Bolton John, who went in his apartment and executed him. We pointed out that her and her brother, they were taking pictures, and her brother was throwing up some of them white supremacist hand signs. So it looks like that was part of one of these little rituals. See, the thing is, if they want to move up in the ranks, and part of that is offing a black person, they got to do it in a very scandalous way. Just like out here in California, they got like these deputy gangs, like the executioners and all of these people who actually move up in the ranks. If they off a black person, they get like tattoos if they off a black person. To commemorate them offing a black person. It's real heavy, man. We got to stop playing with that. And these are people that our tax dollars are being used to so-called protect us. And they're getting incentivized for offing us. So the thing is, to be a part of these little white supremacist deputy gangs and police gangs, and if the rules are they got to take out a black person, they have to do it in a very cold way, like hit a soft target, like go up in a black woman's house and she's by herself and then escalate the situation and then take her out. Not dirty that was the way they did it. This sister, Sonya, she called for help because she thought there was an intruder in her house. They ended up offing her, and they did it real scandalous. They have to do it that way because they can't really get at a person who's in the middle of a real crime. If a black person is in the middle of a crime, you can't just off them like that because usually there's going to be too many other units looking out for that person. So if a black person is committing a crime, let's say a black person robbed a liquor store, somebody's going to call 911, and there's going to be different units from the entire area looking for that person. So if you catch that person, you don't know who's a part of the other units. Y'all might not be from the same exact department. They might be from another station or whatever. So you can't just pull off that execution right then and there. In some cases they can. But in a lot of cases, there's going to be a lot of eyes coming from all different areas. So the white supremacists got to be careful with that. There's too many eyes on them. But if it's a scenario where it's just one or two officers and they go into somebody's house, they don't have to coordinate the lie that much. It's their word against the victims who's already been offed. So they can get away with it more so. You see, doing these little cold, calculated, scandalous executions. So again, we got to understand there's white supremacist groups within law enforcement, and this is why they're pulling this stuff off. We've been saying this for the longest. This is why black folks, if our political structure is not putting out a crime bill that protects us, then we should not be supporting. Because I see a lot of people using this scenario talking about, oh, well, when Trump get in office, Trump is going to give all officers immunity. Well, the thing is, man, hell, the Biden administration, who are the cops they're prosecuting on a federal level when they harm us? The Biden administration, they're giving them immunity. They've already given them immunity. That's now, crazy. Kamala Harris put up a statement about the situation with Sonya Massey, talking about there's going to possibly be some kind of DOJ investigation. Let's see. Then they start talking about the George Floyd Policing Act that they never passed. They've been talking about that for 4 years. They never passed it. You understand? But boy, that Stop Asian Hate stuff, boy, they pass stuff at the drop of a hat. And again, that George Floyd Policing Act, the language needs to be more specific, and they just need to revamp it and do something else, to be honest.
Because they men like they women, and they like Chinese food. That's why they did that. I'm telling you, they like their culture.
Just need an anti-black hate crime bill. Yeah? We need an anti-black hate crime bill. That's what we need. And they're not prosecuting anybody. See, this is why we got to be very careful about who we support. Because here's the thing. Excuse me. That whole police department needs to be investigated.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That whole police department needs to be investigated. This is not a one-off. For them to do a murder like that whole police department in Springfield, Illinois, it needs to be dismantled, investigated, the whole nine. But this is the bigger picture.
Right.
We see how all of these people get on cold with each other. For them to off a sister the way they did,
that was cold, man. That was so
that
cold.
means we, as 43 million.
This is Tariq and Sheet Radio. But it's called Tariq Radio. Check out his YouTube channel. Yeah, that was just so cold hearted. That woman had no idea she was gonna be. That was her last day on earth. That's why I keep telling you, do not let these people come into your house, man. Shoot. You know, but I think it was a break-in, so maybe they have to come in. But I don't see why they got to come in. Yeah, you know, like I say, a lot of times they come into your house, they're trying to find something inside your house, but that's an eyes view that they can take you to jail for.
Deep black community, we got to get on code.
Right.
We have to start acting as law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? That's what it's going to have to be. We got to be law enforcement. We have to uphold the law. We have to start saying you're not going to sit here and execute and lynch people, and then the people who are supposed to protect us and produce justice, you're sitting here protecting race soldiers and murderers. We're going to have we're going to have to act as a form of law enforcement. Let's be real. With these vile white supremacists that's running amok, that has infiltrated law enforcement, that pull off these cowardly executions on innocent black men, black women, and black children, the reality is the only people who's going to stop that are black men.
Right.
Black men is going to have to stop that. Malcolm X said that years ago.
He did.
To stop all of these
He did say that.
police lynchings and race soldier lynchings, the only people who's going to stop that are black men, particularly foundational black American men.
That's the only way going to stop it. They ain't gonna stop doing it.
The black American descendants of freedmen. We're the only ones who's going to stop that. That's the long and short of it. Because it's us who are the main targets, our families and our children who are the main targets. We are the protectors of these people. The white community is not going to stop him. As you see, many of them, they damn near justify the sister getting off like that. And they're very quiet about it. They get on code and they just shut the hell up and get real quiet about it.
Right.
The dominant white society, they're not making no noise about that. They're not making no noise about that vile execution, shooting an innocent black woman in her home like that for nothing. The way they did it was scandalous. None of these women groups, notice that? None of these white women's groups talking about women's rights, because I want y'all to understand, white women, they put race before gender. You get some of these bedwenches out here trying to put gender before race, thinking, well, I'm a woman first. The white women don't look at that. They look at race first. Right. They're white women. Mm-hmm. They're not women who are white. No. They are white women, white first. Mm-hmm. Just like the feminist movement, the first wave. Their whole argument, those white feminists, they were like, hey, wait a minute. Don't give these Negroes the right to vote before us now. Come on, white man. You get you some act right. Are you a punk? They were punking white men out. That's what that whole early feminist movement was about. These white so-called feminists were just white supremacists. They were punking out the white man. Hey, how y'all gonna let these Negroes make you give them the vote? I thought you were a proud white man. Come on now. They were on that. They've always been white supremacists, always. They put race first. So we got to understand what position we're in, and we're going to have to produce justice.
Right.
It stops when we say it's going to stop. Yeah, you dig?
It's not going to stop.
It stops when we say enough is a damn enough.
Yeah, it ain't going to stop unless we push back. That's the truth. If we don't push back, it's not going to stop. And I think he's hit it right on the head. If black men don't do nothing, it's not. This is going to keep happening. We got to make it happen. We got to unify and come up with something to protect ourselves. This is crazy, man. This is insane. And all these single black women that's home, I don't need no man. I'm gonna be picking my way till this millionaire show up. Y'all better get y'all a man up under y'all. She was by herself. If it had been some brothers up in there, or a man she was dealing with, and maybe his family there, his brothers and stuff. She had a man up under her. Maybe they couldn't get, it could have been a brother, but hey man, y'all can't come up in here right now. We don't want y'all on that. Somebody broke in, ain't nothing got stolen, but we can talk outside. A brother would let her know, don't let them in your house. Being that she ain't got no man there, she think these two big white men. They okay, can we go inside? Okay, she's just going along with them because a male presence got to be there with a woman to, hey, no, let's talk out here, man, because Why can we come inside? We can talk out here. We got not. We got naked kids that we bathing right now. It's night times. We trying to get them situated for school tomorrow, even though it's summertime. You can't come in, man. You ain't got no room. Let's talk outside. You know, even then that can escalate to something. Them we can't go. You know what I'm saying? But just have a man there with you to even this if something like this goes down, he takes the bullet. You know, when you these sisters talking about this kind, you don't need no man. I can do all bad by myself. I can be on my own. You're leaving you're out here in the world vulnerable, and a man can come in and overpower you and do what he did to her. You know what I'm saying? You need a man. Shit, that's why they made us. They made us to need each other. You know, I don't like that narrative that they put out there. Oh, you need no man. You better get one.
When we say, hey, this ain't gonna cut it, that's when it stops. Yeah. That's why we got to be codified.
That's real shit,
And that's
man.
why we're monitored all the time. They always monitor black men, especially black American men, because they understand where the power and the potential power is. They know the potential power that we have.
Right.
And they know once we get fed up with stuff, things will turn around. So they always have to monitor and suppress everything we do and infiltrate us all the time. Because they know when we get on code, things gonna get different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Shit.
But this sister getting off the way she got off, that's not anything we need to take lightly, especially as black men.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, we let them just
You got to be
hop
very
on
clear
women.
because you can tell the strength of a community by the way the women are treated. Yeah. When they can treat your women and children any kind of way, that's a major sign of weakness. And there's no get back. Let's look. In the
Woo.
1960s, let's be very clear. The
Woo.
six
That's some real shit. Tariq said. That's if they can get at your women and your children, they're showing how weak your men are. Dang, you just let them just. You know what I'm saying? When they can get at your women and children, that shows how weak your men are. Damn, that's some deep shit.
60s, see, you had a sacrificial generation. We got to give it up to a lot of the brothers and sisters in the 60s who did a lot of sacrificing for a lot of freedoms that we enjoy.
Right. Some. Shit.
Sometimes you get a generation of people who sacrifice for the next generation. We had that majorly in the 1960s. A lot of brothers were putting in work. Some of them brothers got killed. Some of them brothers are still in jail
Mm-hmm.
for putting in work, saying, hey, the next generation, we're going to make sure they're good. We're going to step to these white supremacists and make them stop harming us. Places like Cairo, Illinois, they ran all the white supremacists up out of there by force. In the 60s, man, these brothers were hijacking planes and going to Cuba, Algeria, all of these places. You had these folks hitting up police stations. They were putting in a lot of work. A lot of the riots that happened in the 60s, including the Watch riots and others, why they got started? They got started because the word was some black woman got harmed. That's what the Watch riot. The rumor was some brother's mom, the police roughed some dude's mother up, and the
Mm-hmm.
hood said, "Oh no, 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 that's not gonna fly." Back then, there was a
Mm-hmm.
shame if you allowed somebody to harm a woman in your community.
Right. It was.
There was
Yeah.
shame to that. They don't give a
Mm-hmm.
damn who it was, race, soldier, anybody. You harm a woman, that's a problem.
Right.
So you got to do some get back because the women in the community they'll look at you funny, like, damn, y'all letting these cats come in and harm us, and ain't nobody doing
Doing
nothing.
nothing. Right.
So cats
Right.
have to step up. In the
Mm-hmm.
60s in Philadelphia, I think there was another situation where a rumor was a pregnant black woman got harmed by some race soldiers. Brothers started getting on the roof sniping.
Mm.
People were putting in work in the 60s.
They had more balls back then.
And if you harmed a sister, it was a problem. Going in Texas, there was a big race riot in Texas, early 1900s.
They ain't got no
The
balls.
rumor was some white dudes harmed a sister. So some military brothers got them gats and just went around the neighborhood popping at them white supremacists, popping on them.
Mm.
Oh no, we not, no, 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 no. We can't just sit up and let black women get harmed and we not do nothing. We're not going, no, 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 no. Got to handle that. Yeah. So we got to understand that the problem won't get fixed until black men fix it. It's a black men thing.
That's right. Anyway, this is Tariq Nasheed. Y'all can check out his channel, man. Check out his video on YouTube. I ain't gonna play all of it, but y'all can check out. This is called "Was Sonya Massey a Target or Racial Motivated Initiation?" Support this channel. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys watching, man. Take care.